Are you open for questions?
Yes. So if you did not attend classes before, you may find it a little difficult to follow all.
Bác có câu hỏi. Dạ bác hỏi trước.
Anh xin anh dịch cho rằng
Dạ.
cái pháp này có phải là cái pháp mà Đức Phật giơ cái cành hoa huệ lên mà Đức Di Lặc gật đầu cười, có phải là cái pháp này không mà cũng giảng ngày hôm nay không? Mà đây thấy gọi là vi diệu pháp, nhưng mà theo cái sự mà hiểu biết của tôi đó thì chính thật là duy thức pháp về sau này được thịnh hành một thời khá lớn.
I try. There are some technical terms there. He asked, this is Abhidhamma taught by the Buddha. And is it the same teaching the Buddha gave to the next Buddha? Because I think in some I believe in Mahayana text, they say the Buddha taught the next Buddha, which is a Bodhisattva in the celestial sphere. And that called the logic of knowledge. I don't know the Sanskrit or Pali term, but the English is logic of knowledge. Because later on they developed in Mahayana something called logic of knowledge, which like contain mana, vijnana, alaya, vijnana. So that is belong to logic of knowledge. So his question is, let me summarize, is this the same as what the Buddha taught the next Buddha?
Không nói Đức Phật chỉ giơ cái cành hoa lên và Đức Di Lặc gật đầu cười. Thế rồi là
he say,
không có nói.
He said the Buddha didn't explicitly taught the next Buddha, which was a Bodhisattva, but he only raised the flower, and the next Buddha, which is Bodhisattva at that time, knocked the head. That's it. So is that the same?
Yeah, that's in our tradition, Buddha did not teach the Bodhisattva, and whatever one Buddha teaches will disappear at one time. So the dispensation will last for 5,000 years, or maybe even more, or maybe less. But at one time, the teaching will disappear along with all monks and all this. And then after a long interval, another Buddha will appear. A bodhisattva, among many bodhisattvas, one bodhisattva will become a Buddha. So when he becomes a Buddha, he penetrated all these teachings by himself. He doesn't have to learn these teachings from others. So by his all-knowing wisdom, he knows all these teachings, and then he gives these teachings to his to beings and to his disciples. So not that one Buddha taught another a bodhisattva who is to succeed him next, but these are like treasures hidden at some time, and then later on a man comes and discovers it. So that is why Buddhas are called discoverers of truth, actually, because what the Gautama Buddha taught was just the teachings taught by previous Buddhas. So when the Buddhas disappear and when the dispensation disappears, then these teachings also disappear. So they were something like hidden. And next, another Buddha appears and he discovers these teachings and gives them to people. So there is no such thing as one Buddha teaching the Bodhisattva. Your question reminds me of how Sariputra learned Abhidhamma. So in our tradition, Buddha went up to celestial world, tower things of heaven, and then taught Abhidhamma there for 3 whole months, and it's said that he taught non-stop. But every day he went down to the human world, because since he was a human being, he had to eat, he had to take bath and so on. So when he went down to the human world, Sariputra, his chief disciple, went to attend to him. So at that time, Buddha would say to Sariputta, Sariputta, I have taught during the previous day, say, I have taught, say, such and such chapters. When Sariputta heard that Buddha had taught, say, chapter 2 or 3, something like that, he knew all the contents of those chapters. So this way, Buddha passed on his knowledge of Abhidhamma to Sariputta. Now, Sariputta had 500 disciples, 500 monks. So when he went back to his monastery, Sariputta taught Abhidhamma to his pupils, 500 monks. But when he taught to his pupils, he did not teach all that he knew, but he taught just what they can accept, what they are able to take. So I think you can translate this well. So there are 3 versions of Abhidhamma. We just talked about it last night. The most comprehensive version, that is that taught by the Buddha to the celestial beings, that is actually, it's very, very comprehensive. And then the briefest, the shortest version is that Buddha gave to Sariputta, because it may be just a table of contents. I have taught such and such chapter, and then Sariputta knew. So, but the version taught by Sariputta to his pupils is neither too large nor too small. And fortunately, that version came to be recorded after the Buddha's death at the first Buddhist council, and that is the version we now have as Abhidhamma. So when Sariputta, how Sariputta learned Abhidhamma from Buddha, he just heard the name of the chapters or name of the sections, and then he understood all. So that your question reminds me of the episode, Sariputta's learning Abhidhamma.
Câu cuối cùng. Bởi vì hôm nay sư giảng về căn trần thức, và cũng như sư nói rằng là cái đó là cái bộ ba. Nếu mà thiếu một thì nó sẽ không có cái gì hết cả. Như là anh nói có đúng không ạ? Trong như nhà Phật đấy gọi là tam y đó, 3 cái tính cái đó. Thế nhưng mà tôi xin hỏi một cái là trong cái ý thức mà trong này là chỗ sau đó, thì không cần phải hội đủ cái căn cái trần mà nó sinh ngay là cái thức. Có phải không?
Thì bác muốn hỏi như vậy.
Vâng, có phải không? Có phải là trước kia nói không? Phải mắt. Ví dụ tôi mắt này tôi nhìn thấy anh này, thì tôi mới sinh cái thức anh là người quen, để thí dụ như vậy. Nhưng mà bây giờ đó tôi không gặp anh, nhưng tôi về nhà tôi nhắm mắt lại, mà tôi vẫn nghĩ được tới anh, tôi hình dung là cả mặt anh, là tôi dùng cái ý thức của tôi, tôi không có căn, mà cũng không có trần, nhưng chỉ cái ý thức của tôi thôi. Vì vậy cái đó nó không cần ba bộ ba thì lấy ở đâu ra.
His question is as follows. He said when you have eye consciousness, then you have the eye, good eye, and you have visible object. Then in the contact, we have the eye consciousness. Without one of the elements, without the object or without the eye, we don't have eye consciousness. He understood that. However, he say sometimes with the mind itself, you can have something. You don't need the object. So we don't need the object in order to have something. So how do you explain that?
Pretty cool.
Now, consciousness is defined as that which knows the object. So, if it is to be consciousness, it must always have an object. It is never without an object. That is one thing. Now, say without the eye, we think of something in the past. Now, say I close my eye and say I think of my monastery. So I see the monastery in my mind, right? Now, that is not through seeing consciousness. It is through mind that we see. And that is actually memory. Not the real object face to face with us, but the object which is past or which is far away and only in our mind. So that becomes the object of that mind, by which we say, I see my monastery now. Actually, I'm not seeing my monastery, but when I think of it, I think I see the monastery. So the monastery becomes the object of my mind here. And here, seeing consciousness means that which arises through real I. So these two are different. Among the dhatus, the number 17, mind consciousness. So mind consciousness can take objects, past, present, future. And so past includes visible object, audible object, and so on. So when they are past, they are not present, and so they cannot be experienced by eye consciousness, ear consciousness, but they can be experienced by mind consciousness. So with that mind consciousness, we experience the past objects, or even present objects which are not within the range of our eyes. And so these two are different. Seeing directly the visible object and seeing through our mind.
If you imagination something, so that thing is never exist. So how that thing get into your mind, and how that object it attract your mind?
I think this is a power of mind. We call mental projections. So we conjure up some visible things in our mind, and then we take that as an object. Our minds, the mind consciousness element takes that as the object, and so we see, we think we see these images. Actually, they are in our mind, and we something like remember or experience them, but not actually seeing them. And I think when we conjure up some strange objects in our minds which we have not seen before, I think we rely on something we have seen and then make improvement on it, something like that. So actually we have to rely on something we have experienced and then modify it or add something to it.
Could you explain, when you focus your mind on the abdomen and you have mindfulness, could you distinguish which one is Ceta, consciousness, which one is Cetasika, and the process? Clarify that for us.
So first, what we call mind is composed of two things, consciousness and mental factors. In everyday language, we don't differentiate between these two. We say, I'm angry, I'm happy. That can mean I have a happy consciousness or I have a good feeling. So we don't differentiate between consciousness and mental factors when we talk in everyday situations. But when we come to technical understanding of phenomena, then consciousness is defined as that which is aware of the object. So just the pure awareness of the object is consciousness. And along with this pure awareness, there is a feeling, say some good feeling or pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, some perception, and some other actually reactions to the object. So they, along with pure conscious awareness of the object, they also arise. Then they are what are called cetasikas or mental factors. Now, mental factors and consciousness, there are two things. Consciousness is said to be the leader of these mental things, or the forerunner of mental things. That does not mean that consciousness goes in front and then mental factors follow it. Not like that. They arise at the same moment, at the same time. But without the awareness of the object, how can feeling of the object arise? How can attachment to the object arise? How can aversion to the object arise? So the awareness of the object is a key or a door for others to arise. That is why consciousness is said to be forerunner of mental things. Now, when you concentrate on the, say, abdomen, say, rising and falling of the abdomen, just the awareness of the abdomen or movement is consciousness, ceta. And then you concentrate on it and your mind goes deep into the object, you make a mental note, and those are cetasikas. And you get concentration, your mind becomes settled or concentration, that is cetasika. And then you see clearly in your mind the rising and falling, and there are just rising and falling and no other thing, and that is also cetasika. It is we call it understanding. So in actual practice, we cannot divide or we cannot take them one by one because they are indivisible. And once Venerable Nagasena said that Buddha did a very, very difficult thing, more difficult than telling, picking up the water from the ocean and telling this is water from this river, this is water from that river. That would be easier, he said, than to say this is contact, this is feeling, this is perception, this is awareness, and so on. So just the awareness of the object is ceta, and then feeling, perception, and others are cetasika. And now, one word for the word we use in giving instructions, say, be fully aware of the object or something like that. Now, that awareness is mindfulness actually, not the awareness we attribute to consciousness. Then we have to differentiate that. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we say be aware of something, that means not just consciousness, but with mental factors, or it really means mindfulness. Be mindful. But when we say consciousness is the awareness of the object or has the characteristic of awareness of the object, that means just pure awareness. Something like I'm aware that he's there, but I'm not seeing him. Pure awareness, something like that. Or in some words, the contact between the subject and object, something like that. Yeah.
It's true. I want to follow question before
Me
you.
too.
Okay. Very short. Does that mean that when you follow the abdomen rising and falling, and if you concentrate on that one, you have mindfulness, is that you have a mental factors. If you wondering, if you not concentrate on that one, you hear something in your mind, it's not on the abdomen. It's some consciousness or mental factors, awareness of the other mental factors, or consciousness, awareness of the mind wandering. You have two, consciousness or mental factor, or both of them mental factors.
You are aware of what?
Where you have mindfulness on the abdomen rising and falling.
Yes.
And which one aware what? The consciousness aware of mental factor, or mental factors aware of mental factors?
No.
You have two of them control, right?
Yeah,
You know the other one.
Yeah, but consciousness is aware of the movement here.
Right.
So movement is not mental factor. Movement is actually rupa. Right? It is not mind, not mental movement. Movement of the abdomen, movement of the material property. So when you concentrate on the movement, then the object is rupa, movement, and your consciousness is aware of the movement, and then mindfulness is mindful of the movement. Mindful of the movement means go deep into movement, and then your mind strongly established on the object, and that is concentration. So they arise together, and so actually it is very difficult to distinguish one from the other, because they arise together, they disappear together, and so on. But when you concentrate on the abdomen, then the abdomen or the movement of the abdomen is rupa, it is not nama.
Then when you know that you not concentrate on abdomen, and you hear something, your mind run away, you not concentrate on that one.
Yeah.
And you know that you not concentration, that mindfulness.
Now, when you are aware of another
After.
Consciousness of mind, suppose your mind goes out, and then you say wandering, or say going on.
So that the other consciousness.
In that case, one consciousness is the object of another consciousness.
I
Now,
got
you are aware of another consciousness going out. Now, it's very important here. When you are aware of another consciousness, that another consciousness has already disappeared, actually, a fraction of a second. But in the context of meditation, we call it a present object. But actually, it is not present at that time, because no two consciousness can arise simultaneously. So the one consciousness which is aware of another consciousness is present, but that consciousness which is the object of this consciousness has already disappeared. So maybe a billionth of a second.
I have a question. When we practice vipassana, the objective is to be mindful on an object, any object, so that we give a chance, an opportunity for the 52 mental factors to arise. And when we come and tell you our experience, we are basically describing one of the 52 mental factors. And the progress of our practice depends on which mental factors arise during our meditation.
Now, you know there are 52 mental factors, and a number of mental factors arise together at every moment of consciousness, because there are the first 7 which accompany every type of consciousness. They are called universals. So whatever consciousness arises, they are always with it. And then there are others that arise only with some type of consciousness. So when you practice meditation, now you try to concentrate on, let us say, the abdomen. So there is the awareness of the abdomen as an object, and also there are mental factors like mindfulness, mental effort, concentration, and also understanding. And there are others too that arise at that moment, but these are important ones. So at every moment of meditation, say if meditation is to be good, then these factors must be present. First, it is confidence, and then mental effort, concentration, mindfulness, concentration, and understanding means seeing the object clearly and seeing its characteristics or its nature, and seeing that it arises and disappears. So that is called understanding of panya. So when you practice meditation, more or less these factors are present in your mind along with consciousness. So we cannot say that there is only one mental factor accompanying or 2 mental factors accompanying, because there are now when you practice meditation, you have kusala consciousness, one of the 8 kusala consciousness, and so these one of the 8 kusala consciousness are said to be accompanied by about, if it is the best of the consciousness, then it is accompanied by 38 mental factors. But among them, So what are important is what I have said: the confidence, effort, the five faculties, mindfulness, concentration, and understanding of wisdom. Sometimes wisdom may not be present yet in the early stages of meditation, because you are just trying to get concentration, and so understanding may not come readily. Because the real understanding can come only when you have concentration. So before you get good concentration, real understanding may not come, or you may not see the object really clearly. Sometimes, even after practicing for some time, sometimes you don't really see the object clearly. There's something fuzzy about that. So that means the understanding is lacking at that time. So when you see clearly, well defined, not mixed with other objects, then you are getting the real panya, or understanding. So understanding in Abhidhamma, in the practice of meditation, means seeing the thing clearly, its characteristic, and also seeing its arising and disappearing, so that it is impermanent and so on. Okay.
Question. When we are aware of things, we are less attached to the object that we are aware of. Where is that? Well, let's put it this way. How come we're not attached to it? Where do we cut off the attachment?
Mindfulness is a wholesome mental factor. So when there is mindfulness, then attachment cannot come in. Real mindfulness. When we lose mindfulness, then attachment or aversion or whatever, they can come in. So in order to avoid, or in order to prevent them from coming to us, say we try to keep mindfulness here. It's like a guard. So it's, in the books, mindfulness is compared to a guard. That means when there is mindfulness, you're always on alert. And so these unwholesome mental factors cannot arise in your mind. The moment you lose mindfulness, then they come in, and that is when we are attached to this thing, or we are angry with something else. That is why we have to keep mindfulness, say, always, or as much as we can.
So when we're enjoying something, we can still be mindful of enjoying?
It's impossible. When there is enjoyment, so enjoyment means we are attached to it. So there can be no real mindfulness when we are enjoying ourselves, enjoying food, or enjoying some performance or whatever.
When we have a mindfulness, that means we can stop the mental formation arising.
Not all mental formations, but unwholesome mental formations. Yeah. Because mindfulness itself is a mental formation, right?
Yeah, you said that if you have mindfulness, that aversion cannot arise. But many times in meditation, that feelings might come up, and we are aware of it. Like we are aware of anger, but still you still feel the anger. Yet you are aware of that. So does that mean that you don't have the mindfulness yet? If you still feel it, even you're aware, you're say angry.
When you are really aware of your anger, then that awareness, or that is mindfulness. Mm-hmm. Mindfulness comes in, and so anger is not in your mind at that time. First you have anger, right?
Right.
So there is anger. Anger accompanying your consciousness.
Right.
Then you invoke mindfulness. You try to be mindful of anger. Mm-hmm. That means you push anger out of you, mm-hmm. and let it become the object of your observation, or object of your mindfulness. Mm-hmm. So at that moment, as I said before, that anger has actually already disappeared a fraction of a second. But mind works very, very fast. That is why we think that we can take two objects at a time. So you are seeing me and you are hearing me at the same time, right? Simultaneously you think. But if we could analyze your, say, mental process, then we'll see that seeing and hearing alternate. But it's so fast that we are not able to see that, say, mind just come one after another.
Any more questions?
I have a question. You talk about mind, and I read in the book, a meditation book, and there was just like something like a poem. They say that when you cut the root of the tree, the leaves will wither. But when you cut the root of the mind, samsara will fall. So what kind of mind do we have to cut?
Not the mind, but the root of the mind.
The root.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means two most important mental factors: ignorance and craving or attachment. These two things are called the root of the samsara, or root of round of rebirths. Because so long as we cannot eradicate these two things, we will always be reborn again and again and again. So when these are cut, then like a tree which principal roots have been cut, the tree withers. So when these two are cut, then there are no more accumulations of merit or demerit. Both merit and demerit are, say, don't get chance to arise. So not cutting the consciousness itself, but the root of, actually, we are not root of consciousness, actually, the root of samsara, or the root of round of rebirth.
You say that the same consciousness, they are divided into seeing pleasant things result from good karma, and seeing bad things result from bad karma. So it seems to me that seeing consciousness change. But in the way that the Buddha teach one of the disciples, that when he saw the river, the Ganges river, and the disciples say that the river from one time to another time, it changes like impermanent. So Buddha asked him, so what is permanent? And the disciple didn't know how to answer. And Buddha said, your seeing is permanent. But in here, you say, it seems to me like it have bad karma and good karma. It means that it's change. It's not permanent. Maybe.
Chị muốn luyện
Yeah,
tâm
then,
thức. She said like this: when you have eye consciousness, you have two types.
Yes.
And good consciousness from good karma in the past, and bad consciousness from bad karma in the past. And these two types consciousness sometimes interchange each other, take turn one after another.
Yes.
So it implies the changing. You see, like in changing. Like in the Buddha teaching, when you see the Ganges river and ask the monk, like a Heraclitus, we never stepped in the same river, so it's changing the same concept. But then Buddha, what is not changing? Then the monk could not answer the question. Then Buddha said, your seeing is not changing. So that implies permanence. So it's like they do not go together or not consistent. So how do you elaborate? Can I?
According to the Buddha, everything in the world changes. There is nothing which does not change. Consciousness or mental factors or material properties. Because the Buddha criterion for impermanence is that whatever has a beginning and an end is suffering. Whatever has a beginning and an end is impermanent, and whatever is impermanent is suffering. So whatever has a beginning and an end is impermanent, and everything in this world has a beginning and an end. So our consciousness is also impermanent. The objects are also impermanent. I don't know what Buddha said in that story, that consciousness does not change. Actually, consciousness changes much more quickly than the material things. In one sitting, we can have hundreds of moments of consciousness. So there is nothing in this world which does not change.
That's why I didn't understand, because usually everything changes, and then Buddha say your seeing doesn't change.
Maybe I think, say, if it is really said by the Buddha, it could mean that your outlook does not change. That means you have the same outlook again and again. So you think it is impermanent or you think it is permanent. So your outlook of things. And next time you have the same outlook, and the next time you have the same outlook. Then, in the conventional sense, Buddha will say your seeing does not change. But actually, as you know, seeing consciousness lasts for only a fraction of a second. It has to disappear. So everything is in a flux. Everything changes. But when we have the same opinion of something again and again, and we are said to have the permanent outlook on these things. Say, I think this is permanent, and next time also I think this is permanent. Next time also permanent. Then my outlook, my opinion of this does not change. So that is in the conventional sense. But in the ultimate sense, there is nothing which is permanent in this world.
I think her question was something as a meaning like, if you see the thing, then the thing is always changed. But the seeing of you is always the same. That's what she meant it in one of the sutras. I don't understand myself either.
So the same type of seeing arising again and again, something like that.
Can I contribute that? Actually, she mentioned about some of the Mahayana suttas. Maybe in the Diamond or in the Shuragama Sutta. When the Buddha, Shuragama, when the Buddha asked, show something to Ananda, I believe, Venerable Ananda, I believe, if I'm not wrong, and he said, do you see this? Or he hit the bell, hear the sound. Do you hear this? Then Ananda said, yes. I hear it, or I see it. When the Buddha take away the thing, or there is no sound, then do you hear it? Then Ananda say, no, I don't see or I don't hear. And the Buddha say, no, you hear the no sound, or you see the no sight.
Nothing.
So that she meant by that seeing is permanent. But I think it's different from the definition of
right.
consciousness.
Yes. Or maybe, say, you always see. You see the thing, or you see its absence. So when the thing is taken away from you, you see the space there or something like that. Maybe that is what is meant. So you always see something. You see something or you see nothing.
Well, you said everything in this world is impermanent. Can we say that if you have right understanding, one of the 8 paths, can we say that the right understanding is permanent?
No. You know, these have existence only for one moment. These are mental factors, right? Right understanding is mental factor. So it exists for only one moment or three sub-moments. It may arise again. A similar mental factor may arise again and again and again. But the mental factor itself will not last for more than these three brief moments. So the right understanding is also impermanent. Now, even the consciousness at the moment of enlightenment, the path consciousness, right? Path consciousness arises at the moment of enlightenment. Even that path consciousness is impermanent. It disappears and then fruition consciousness follows, right? So even path consciousness or fruition consciousness, the supramundane consciousness, is impermanent. Although they are called supramundane, they still have arising and disappearing, not like Nibbana. So they are also impermanent.
Tức là xin hỏi câu hỏi cho sư bị sư.
He says the last question. Please.
For everyone, sư.
Yeah.
Về sư
Yeah.
là vì thế này. Khi mà thiền, hành thiền, thì có chánh đạo và có định. Có định nó sẽ nảy ra cái huệ. Vì vậy sư có chấp nhận theo cái ý hiểu của tôi ấy, là vừa rồi ngũ căn ngũ lục gì đấy, bây giờ tôi hỏi có chấp nhận ngũ nhãn của nhà Phật không? Là dục nhãn, thiên nhãn, huệ nhãn, pháp nhãn, thập nhãn. Như vậy bây giờ sư đã thiền hành lâu như vậy và đã định, đã sâu lắm rồi, thì đã đắc tới cái huệ nhãn chưa? Không được nói cái gì. Bởi vì sư nhìn thấy cái tánh ở bên trong, giảng cho anh em chúng mình là giảng cái tánh, chứ không nhìn cái tướng, mà nhìn vào cái tánh bên hả. Thì vậy sư đã đắc cái huệ nhãn
He said that when we practice meditation, if we have a good mindfulness, concentration, we will have panya. And he said there is 5 types of eyes. The neck eye, the eye, like it is. Dhamma eyes.
Thiên nhãn.
You know, you can see far away things. See.
Yes.
That I don't know the term.
Divachaku.
What?
Divachaku. Yeah. Celestial eye.
Celestial eye. And Buddha eye. And Dhamma eye. So 5 type of eyes. And he would like to know, if possible, do you have the panya eye yet? so that you can tell us, we can learn from you something.
Then he try more.
In our minds.
No, I may have some inkling of that panya, but not the real panya which the Buddhas possess, because they are called what they call, let me see, peculiar to Buddhas only. The Buddha eye or whatever. And Dhamma eye can be understanding of the mental and physical phenomena as impermanent and so on. They can be also called Dhamma eye. But the Dhamma eye in the Sutras mean enlightenment. The three lower stages of enlightenment. That is for those who have gained enlightenment only. not for us, not for ordinary people.
We wish we had a portion of yours.
Oh, it's very the wisdom I possess is very small.
You cannot share because it's small.
I'm sharing my knowledge with you now. And I think there are 3 qualities. Say for a person to become, say, well informed or to become wise, and they are desire to learn, and the real learning, and asking questions. So I treat all these qualities in all of you. So don't worry. You'll become learned and well-informed Buddhists. That's sure.
I think it's about time.
That's about time.
Yeah, for today.
It's 7:03. Yeah. Huh?
We have two
Oh
names.
yes.
Could you specifically mention because they are very sick?
Yes.
Bin mother, second one. Bin mother,
Second one.
the second one.
The second one.
Yes. Oh yes.
Sue, yeah.
Yeah. I went to see her last month.
Oh,